Welcome to Rauta, welcome to Kaamos Metal Cruise 2023. Here we have some Danish A-class death metal. Now, since we're in the brown-nosing measures in the sense of brown beer and all that stuff, cheers to you. I'm gonna say this is Baest from Denmark, or they would be like, oh, Denmark, because we should all know Denmark, Danish language is like Swedish with potatoes in your mouth. Sir, could you please introduce who the fuck are you and why are you here with me?
Hello, I'm Simon. I'm fucking the vocalist of fucking Baest. And to all you guys that doesn't know, especially this fucking idiot who doesn't know how to pronounce our fucking name, or moniker, how you will, it's pronounced Baest.
Now, of course, everybody in Finland and other parts of the civilized world will say it's Baest.
Baest.
Because we don't know, we have no idea how to say beast in Danish.
No.
Now, this is probably the most annoying question, so let's get it right off the way before we even start talking about the band. Why did you choose to go with the moniker? Why did you decide to go with the name?
I think, first of all, it was the guitarist's idea, starting the moniker. I think we would start to call it Beast, but someone was already using the moniker, so we were like, okay, why don't we do the Danish, how do you say it, word? Just at that time when we started the band, there was a lot of like bands who used their mother tongue, Kvilatak. For example, from Norway. And there's been a lot of Swedish acts.
A lot of Swedish and Norwegian act going the same way.
Actually going the same way. And so we were like, okay, why don't we just do it as
they can do it.
Yeah. And it's great. First we spelled it with like the hidden letter.
Yeah.
The letters that are unseen. A or A.
Yeah.
And but then we found out there was these guys, right? We got an email from a band from Copenhagen, which was like, we had it first. We were there first. So like, could you like change your name? And we're like, fuck it. And didn't answer for like half a year, and then they were writing against for the last time. You have to change now, and then we were like, okay, fuck it. Let's put an A and E. And
did it ever occur to you that everybody outside, Nordic countries would have a hard time spelling it right for the gig posters and interviews and shit like that, and you would be correcting them all the time?
Yeah, but also it's become a topic. It's a great icebreaker.
And here we are exactly doing that.
Like exactly doing that. Starting a conversation.
Okay, since that's so boring topic and we got it already done.
Yeah.
Something that kind of bothered and intrigued me since the very first second I heard the debut album Dance Macabre.
Yeah.
You were signed to Century fucking Media.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that maybe a lot of underground metalheads don't really understand, but Century Media being one of the biggest labels there for any kind of extreme metal, and you being signed there since with the very first album. And not only that, but he also did like a great album to begin with, not like some demo level recording like, nice, these guys have ideas, but not really. What the fuck is your story? What kind of poison you have in Denmark to make it all happen?
Well, first of all, we already set the ambitions from the start. We had a great confidence about the material we had from the start, and we were like, but of course we were kind of green in terms of like finding a label and how to put out music. But we have a great friend, Toge, who was like, he's working with the Danish festival Copenhagen as well.
That's quite famous at the underground anyway.
Exactly. And he was like, okay, don't put it out now. Of course, we had the album, we had all the material, it was recorded, but they were like, wait, just wait. We'll put you on a showcase festival called Copenhagen Freezes Over, and then let's wait for a label to pick it up. And we played the showcase, and the CEO from Copenhagen at that time, Jeppe Nissen, took Jens Preuter, which was at that time like as a head A&R for the Century Media. He was actually going to go home, and we were the last act for the night. And Jeppe bought him a beer and said, "You have to watch this." He was blown away. He said, "That's his words," and the rest of it is history. We signed to Century Media, and we made a deal with Doomstar as well, and Mojo Promotion as well. And
this sounds so weird because I've been, listening to all kind of extreme metal for the past, I don't know, 30 years or so, and usually, even as a review dude guy, usually you see the kind of a normal pattern. You do a demo, then you take a first album to somewhat smaller label, then you kind of start climbing up the ladder, and you're kind of like coming in with middle fingers, showing out not like by ill intentions and all that stuff, but like showing everybody else like this is how you should do it. And you're doing a great album with great production, good vocals, good songwriting, and then being ready to sign, and like it's like how come not album, so many bands don't do it that well?
Well, it's we also had to climb up some kind of ladder, of course, from the underground. But we had the ambitions from the start. We did a demo as well. It never came out. It's only like digital. And after that, we put out like an EP, like self-financed and stuff like that. And it actually did great success at that time. We played Roskilde Festival. We played Copenhagen at that time, only with an EP. Everybody in the business said like this is not possible. It's not possible to reach that far out and do so many shows that we did in Denmark at that time and rise in that part of energy. That's not possible with not an album at least. Yeah. But we did the impossible, and we were like, okay, that's a reason to get confident in what we do. So. And then Toge and Jeppe, the whole Copenhagen coming and saying, "You do a great job. You have the material. You have the fucking.
You have everything. You have
the X factor.
Yeah.
You have to take this serious. You wait for it. Go shop for labels and." Yeah.
Well, I'm
so of course, we also had to climb a ladder at that point. But we had like
did kind of the climbing faster than a lot of bands in a way.
Yeah, I guess everything went quite quicker. But we also we were making ourselves work. Yeah. Like we did our homework, and we also set the bar pretty high as well. And if you work after that mentality, I guess you'll get rewarded in some kind.
I think you're a good example in that, not only like proving that with a healthy sense of doing music and being focused with, like you said, doing your homework, focusing on the live aspects and figuring out how the building blocks, how the Lego parks, how they're done. But I'm kind of fascinated. You're not exactly guys in your 40s like, hey, I used to play in some Suffocation for 15 years, or these guys from Not For Morbid. You don't have the kind of afterburner effect that you're already coming from some bigger bands.
Quite young.
You're quite young, and you still had the confidence, and you didn't become cocky about it. But instead, after one good album, you made another, and then another, and you also did a good EP. And so far, nothing has been indicating that you're getting weaker.
No.
So how do you maintain the balance is the question I'm asking. How are you able to keep your level-headed so that you're able to do good stuff, not letting weak material into that, and yet still being, making good death metal?
I guess we practice a lot. We use a lot of time in rehearsal. And also, as you said, we're a live band. We prioritize ourselves as a live band, getting out there. And I think you can be as much in the rehearsal space as you want and write songs and stuff like that. But you will show your true form when you go out and play live. That's the first priority.
Kind of a trial by fire in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like head to head with the audience and how they react. And man, it can be, yeah. It people can get very, very critiquing. I don't know what the word is.
I think I know what you mean, because through my years, I've seen bands that are really good on albums.
From it. Yeah.
You're really good on albums, and they suck on live. Then there are bands which are really good live, but on albums they're boring.
Yeah.
But you have the energy. I don't know if that's a young man's passion or something, but you feel like you're kicking ass, not apologizing, but also not being arrogant and cocky, but
no, it's
still having the kind of a good balance between the kind of a grooviness, the heaviness, being, I don't know, true to the whole genre. So, how do you figure it out? How do you balance things?
I think it's very simple. It's about like what you like and what you love. Basically, also always listen to what you are passionate about and the wave that hits you when you write music. And also, like before we put out the debut album, we were spending a lot of time doing shows where we also played the first album, the songs from the first album as well. So I think by looking at the audience and also feeling our own kind of vibe through the tracks of the first album, we were kind of like, yeah, this is it. This is working. We like this. It feels comfortable. But it also puts us out there where we like, shit.
There's something that really also always makes me tick, is something that I want to make, how artists make themselves tick. That is, in your question, in your case, that is, the question is, what kind of bands you're drawing influence from? Because I'm already thinking of certain names in my head when I'm listening to your music, and I find a certain kind of a mid-pace versus faster parts, kind of a balance. You're sounding heavy, but you're not afraid to push the gas pedal, only to, I don't know, slow down a little bit, and you have the kind of a good balance between the both parts, where some bands just go one way or another.
One way, yeah.
So, what are your influences? What kind of bands you listen to in order to figure out, like, this is what we want to be inspired by?
The first couple of albums were very inspired by the HM2 sounding bands, especially Bloodbath.
So basically Swedish.
Yeah, Swedish and
Soundlight stuff.
Stockholm sounding bands. But after a while, we also listened to a lot of rock music, a lot of AC/DC, a lot of like the old
school
schoolers, Metallica, Dire Straits, Rush as well, some progressive things, Opeth as well, Thin Lizzy, all that stuff that also has a different kind of vibe, a more catchy vibe into it, and also a melody. And when we started recording Necrosabians, like in start 2020, we were listening a lot to Carcass.
Which era?
The hard work, of course.
Oh, well, my favorite, but I mean, a lot of people would say, like, yeah, it's only Lyrical Putrefaction or whatever. I was like, oh, too fantastic for my taste.
The best Swedish melodic death metal band, not being Swedish.
Well, you put it the right way.
Pretty much.
So you're kind of taking back to the roots in a way, rather than being inspired by the rather modern bands, even if you are one.
Of course, there are also inspirations that pushes you there, but I think we are more like, at that point we got more aware of our own sound and like tried new things and tried to be more self-aware of the sound and tried to play outside the scheme and the schedule of the Swedish. Like the second album was like, it was very, very heavy and Swedish buzzsaw sound, but there were also some more like epic sounding songs at that point. So I guess it kind of sparked the interest in finding our own sound at that point. So the last album, Necrosapiens, was a huge step away from the box as well. So of course, new bands have been inspiring. I don't know if I can actually say so much. Mention any bands at that point. Horrendous, maybe, from America. We, of course, Abbat as well was a huge inspiration because we went touring with him, and then, of course, we got hooked on the music he did, the first album especially.
Yeah.
What was it called? Winterbane. It was called. I don't know.
It's called Abbat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the debut album, yeah.
Yeah, the debut album. And then Decapitated as well.
That's something I don't actually hear in your music, but I mean, inspirations come from different parts.
Well, that guy is first of all, Vok is a great guitarist. He's maybe our new era of Dimebag, I would call him. I hope he listens.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, man, he's fucking great. Pantera as well is also an inspiration. I don't know if you can call that like a modern. I guess you can.
I guess it's kind of like nowadays it feels kind of old school if you're talking about 1990s Pantera.
When we talk about groove and stuff like that.
Yeah. They kind of a Dimebag.
Pantera is definitely an inspiration at that point. So, yeah. Some new, but it was more about like trying to find our own sound at that point. We were so much into it, and we also found a new way for us, at least, to try and do the albums and trying to record the songs as well. We actually booked a plain studio and lived there for like a week at that point and recorded it all in a separate studio. So that was a great experience for us. And also a new kind of like intense way of doing our things.
Now, there is a saying among the review guys, like the third album is the hard one, because by the time you're done with the first two albums, you're already at the crossroads of whether it's about challenging things like, okay, we have already done our first albums with the original ideas, and now it's either time to change the direction or to keep the Iron Maiden momentum, or whatever band you want to call it, like Cannibal Corpse, like let 16 albums in the same way, which is a good fan service, but some people might be complaining about it. Now you have the 3 albums in. Where do you feel in your career you're at?
Right now we are at a tipping point of doing the 4th, starting the procedures of doing the 4th album. We already have a lot of material. But we have to,
We are farting sounds in the background. Just proper Danish humor.
I can't fucking concentrate on it.
That's why we have beer.
Yeah, exactly. To mute everything, or just to put the volume up on fucking 11. No, I think we're at a point right now that was also the idea with the new EP Justitia, and that was like a sequel or a proceeding of the new sound we wanted to experience from Necrosapiens as well. And I think that is a step further into a more, I guess, rockish sound, a more newer 80s, what you call it, more rock-inspired sound. I guess it's more it's getting even more ambitious than the ambitions before. So we think we also think it's natural. So we're kind of stoked about what this is going to end up.
Now let's talk about lyrics. This is something that I was reading some of the parts today at the gym, and I was like figuring out like which way are you going, because for example on the very first album you had the song called Cross Whore, which is kind of interesting because at the same time it's a kind of a basic brutal death metal about like, you know, being violent and all.
Yeah.
But you're also talking about things that are not exactly in good lights these days, talking about rape, and you're also challenging religions and all that stuff. How in hindsight you feel these kind of lyrics represent your music, or how your lyrics have, I don't know, changed, evolved from that?
I guess definitely we've been more aware of how we do the music as well. And when you talk, of course, we had like the basic death metal lyrics at that time, and we had to put it into a box at some point. And I had no idea how to write lyrics at that time, and I was just trying and finding inspirations, and I was listening a lot to Deicide at that time.
That's kind of it's like
he's very fucking relentless, and like he is horrible, and he's said everything, and I was like, he's actually meaning this stuff, but I don't. But it's funny. So of course it just had to fit into some kind of box at that time. But later it evolved. The second album, Venenum, was we put like a topic from the Dante's Inferno, and later on after that, Necrosapiens was more of a sci-fi based theme from.
So you're evolving in a ways.
Trying to, you know, put some obstacles into it to experience more. I also want to comment on that when you talk about rape, it's not necessarily.
I know what you mean. I know, but feel free to explain it.
Yeah, sometimes it's to state a fact or put a light on a horrific thing. You have to use the words. You have to put it into a horrific scenario as well.
Because it wouldn't be very.
You know,
making an impact without horrible words.
Exactly. It's rape is a horrible thing. We can agree on that.
Yep. Definitely.
But you know, to experience it, to actually express the horrific experience in that, you might also use some very, very graphic.
Yeah, it wouldn't sound the same like if you were like, I'm making love to your vagina versus exactly. I'm raping your cunt.
Like, yeah, and you know, death. Yeah, virgin cunts.
And it's the devil doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The devil would be
and also sometimes it's about what do you call it? You have to put it into a context as well.
Yeah, of course.
And also a poetic context. And when you do lyrics, it becomes fictional at first, and it comes into a room where it's okay to say these things. Not you don't necessarily mean it. But you are allowed to express your emotions and your feelings into this lyrical universe. And,
so kind of like a horror movie in that sense.
Exactly.
I'm not being served. So sad.
No.
Just joking, but thank you. How does it feel to sing about these songs you wouldn't write the lyrics for nowadays? That's, I guess, my obvious succeeding question today.
Yeah, it feels powerful. You know, those songs still. Cross Whore was like a breakthrough song kind of for us, because the whole melody, the parts, and the power.
Thank you so much. Now we have to do this kind of a ching-ching moment.
Ching-ching moment, yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
That song did a lot to us and for us at that point. It was like the first single from the first album,
That's a good opening track, by the
It's
way.
a great opening
It
track,
already kind of gives you a vibe like these guys are
yeah.
not fucking around. These are giving brutality,
Yeah.
like you said, the kind of a D-side vibe. But it's also the same, like
Yeah.
you said, the sunlight kind of a Swedish death metal vibe blending together. Like,
And also the word cross whore.
yeah, that's good.
Slight
word for it.
misogynist, you would say in the light of modern times. But at that time we were like, oh, it's also kind of like, listen up.
Kind of a timeless in a D-side ways.
I guess so. And it's also like, a song called Cross Whore. These guys means business.
Yeah, I mean, like that sounds like already. Now you already know that you're listening to some death metal. You're not listening to some apologetic metalcore band with funny haircuts and like saying like, we didn't really mean it. We just wanted to be kind of a rough and like fuck that shit. We're gonna play some death metal and
they have their way of expressing things, I guess, and we have our way of expressing. It's only fucking music, You don't have to
fucking music.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a meme now.
It's just music.
Yeah.
In that terms, like the words you say, it doesn't necessarily mean that. When I say cross whore, I'm not against any.
Let's not stick into that particular song.
But we mean business, and it was also like a choice of words, and we were a young band at that time, so it was flooding out, and we were riding a wave at that time, and it was and it still is a great song, a breakthrough song, I would say.
Do you ever feel that this kind of I don't know whether we call it learning curve or a roller coaster ride or any of these metaphors, do you think more like hey, it's cool that we did this and that, it's nice we made these ballsy moves and we made these ones that I necessarily wouldn't write anymore, or is it more like mandatory process of maturing or growing up, like some people would say?
I think it's just like it all came pretty natural, like with the work throughout the years as well, and the whole unity becoming stronger. I guess it like when you just work with me, of course you were very, very excited in the start, and like everything becomes like very, very fucking excited. And when you work into it and becomes like a unity, it just evolves naturally at some point. But you also have to do work.
You can't really skip that part.
What's the next part? And that's where you actually get to know each other and take steps as a unity as well.
Now, you've been around for quite some time.
Not a lot of years ago, people were telling the opposite. Like, you haven't been around for a lot of time.
Yeah,
we can actually say now.
Yeah, but now we can safely go to the territory and say, okay, you've been around for quite some time, and you've toured, you've done records with your bandmates. Does they ever get frustrated or like challenging, like we're this marriage of, I don't know, 5 guys and more being the business shadows and all, everything aside. Do you ever feel like you're being challenged or that you're put into this kind of a trial by fire, or is everything going nicely as the first honeymoon months?
It comes in waves sometimes. And as a band, you learn that there are many many things and many arrows you get hit by, and very, very many different perspectives. Luckily, we have a great manager, Sven, the guitarist's brother, who's taking care and acting very, very professional and taking care of the assignments that seems kind of like boring for us as well. The economy, for example. But of course, we're working guys, and we also want to take things into our own hands and do things DIY, because we also found out if you want someone to do something for you, it's about the money.
It's always money.
So of course we learn and take many assignments on ourselves, but sometimes you take a look out and and say, well, this was only supposed to be about music. But I guess you also like evolve through that as well. You also grow as a businessman or grow working around the other things that is a band. For example, I take care of the SoMe part. It's the shitty part, but
someone's got to do it.
Yeah, and also when you have to do it, you can just make it your own, and I like to have fun with it usually, and to get. I also like to see myself as a fan and what do fans like as well. So I listen a lot to
that's a
that.
kind of a healthy perspective.
Yeah. To take it down a notch and put it in the same, like, how do you say, height? I guess.
Kind of a level yourself with the audience.
Yeah, we're gonna level ourselves with the audience. A lot of bands are very busy with doing the opposite, like leveling up, but up there it's very lonely.
The kind of an ivory tower moment.
Yeah, exactly, and like processing yourself as like a fucking up there. That's not us. we wanna be with the fans and level down with the audience, and we also experience there's a lot of great energy and there's a great response in that as well. So I guess like putting ourselves like down, of course there's the artistic part, which is some ideal stuff that we also like to put into ourselves, but there's also the other parts, and we also take honor in putting ourselves in that level as well.
Now, seeing this as a...
You learn a lot from it.
This whole scene, this whole industry is a like a multifaceted thing.
Fucking jungle.
And coming from both myself as a, well, not both, but more like as a fan, as a review guy, as a wannabe journalist, as a wannabe musician, and all that stuff, I see it sometimes like a lot of bands, when they end up climbing the ladder, becoming bigger, becoming more essential part of the whole business, which we know as music industry. Yeah, you get kind of lonely in the ivory tower, and all of a sudden the fans are down there, and you see yourself more mingling with the music industry representatives, and also your touring bands, or as opposed, you kind of want the other half of you getting into the very same place as with your fans, like seeing the bands on stage, being there as a music fans to find out the new albums and all that stuff. But did you realize you only had 24 hours in a day, and you have your friends, you have your family, and you have a lot of stuff to take care of? How do you balance these things out? Being an artist, being a music industry professional, and at the same time being a fan and hanging out with the fans of your band?
Well, I guess treating it as a job first and foremost, and also choosing your assignments as well. What is important to do, and still we also have a manager who's taking care of like the business that we are not like capable of having solutions, and so we are very fortunate having a manager and having like a close how do you call it, core that works with us and whom we trust doing that work. So it's hard balancing, of course. You have to work with your mentality all the time, and you also have to. Sometimes you have to part things up when you do things. You have to be 100% there when you do music and when you do live shows and when you're in Baest. And you have to be 100% aware when you be in the business part and start doing that. And when you're at home with the family, you are 100% there as well. So it's about also parting up the things and working with it as a relationship.
Like
the
for
time.
here, example, you're now working with me, you're doing the interview with the other guys who are just sipping booze. I don't know where's the balance, man.
No.
But let's cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Now-
What balance?
Before I let you go and do about your free time and all that stuff, let's talk a little bit about your personal. Now we have our guest, kissing visitor here. Let's talk about your personal favorites. Now, if you got to choose maybe a song or two, not full album because every artist always like our latest album is the best. So if you got to start with a song or two that you would say, now the new fans are supposed to start with a song or two, which would it be? Like doing a little bit of a sales pitch from a fan point of view.
That's a good question. Of course, you want to usually take your. Can I do one from each thing we put out?
As many as you want.
Awesome, man. Okay, if you're into the old school, the real old school, the demo stuff, you have to listen to Goat.
The GOAT.
To Goat, yeah. That was like the real death metal vibe we created at that time. It was the whole production around it, the whole sound is very, very fucking gloomy and stuff like that. When I listen to it, it reminds me of a fucking hilarious time. And we didn't know shit about anything. We were just like, we have to put out music, and we were working with this guy who never worked with death metal before. He was like an electronic producer at that time. But he was like he was from the academy, the music academy, and he was a great guy. He came up with some good ideas, and he was great working with. And we were like, fuck it, let's fucking do it. The second, the EP, which was like there was a step up. We met. That was the first time we got to know our nowadays producer Andreas Lindemann, who did the first album, the second album, the third, and the last EP. We've worked with him throughout all the albums, not the demo, but everything.
Yep.
I would say Marie Magdalene. That track just has a looming fucking primeval thing to it that just, and it has, it's like a living organism, that song. It has such a natural and organic way of evolving and dynamics. It's a beautiful song. Very, very proud of doing that song. And the guys are very proud of it. I remember the first big concert we did at Copenhagen, we started out with Marie Magdalene. And it's a very powerful song. There's a lot of moshing, and there's a part where we always do like a wall of death. And from the first track, that's fucking insane. Doing a wall of death in the start song, that was crazy. But they did it. They fucking did it. Marie Magdalene, from the first album, Dance Macabre.
Right, because I think it's very, very well balanced albums.
Yeah.
But then again, all your albums are then like hard to find the hit songs because
yeah.
you don't have weak points. That's the downside of not having weak points. They're very consistent.
Yeah. I would say some fillers maybe there, but they are. That's also because we are like our own worst critics. As
I
well.
know from a band perspective.
fucking great
you're
songs,
always
you know?
you end up loving some songs more than the others. Much like hating some of the kids more. Like they don't play football. Fuck them, kind of thing. But from your perspective, like what about like lyrics? These lyrics I want to sing more than anything else.
Yeah, Vortex. I don't remember if it's the first. No, Crosshore is the first, but the song Vortex, I don't remember where it is at the track list. It just came to me like as a picture, Vortex, as a vortex. Like and it was also about Dance Macabre. The Dance Macabre, if you've seen the artwork, it's very much inspired by Blessed Are the Sick by Morbid
It's
Angel.
very bloody and very red.
Yeah, and I was out of ideas at that point, but then I was just like I was watching. It was like watching a painting. It's a painting. A guy called Sebastian Graneberg, which painted the whole thing in his hands. And I was trying to okay, how do I express this painting with words? And then it came to me as a vortex, and like it all just came flowing out, and I was like, that's real fucking lyrical artist moments. I don't know. It was a crazy time at that point when we did the Dance Macabre, but that just came completely natural to me, and it's a powerful song as well. It's fast. It's furious. But it's very groovy moments as well. It's a great picture of what we are as a band, and the lyrics I don't know where it came from. Like, you know, some lyrics you just sit down and you fucking work at every fucking sentence, and maybe you don't like, maybe it doesn't fucking make any sense like word wise, but it just sounds fucking good. This just came
weird
flowing
artistic
out.
brain.
Yeah, exactly. And this just came flowing out, and I was like, this is an artistic moment, I guess. And I'm very proud of that song. And the second album, I would say Nihil, the song Nihil. Again, it just came flowing out. I was actually having another idea for this song, and we did a lot of research at the Inferno part of Dante's Inferno and the whole Divine Comedy thing, and we also did a book with a writer at that point. But this song I just kind of strayed it away from the actual idea, and then again let it all flow out. And it has like a melodic part to it from the start, intro, which is like it's very, very, how do you say it? What's Slayer? It's from like inspired by a Slayer song.
Oh yeah.
South of Heaven, I think.
Yeah.
And that part
so kind
was
of gloomy.
Very gloomy, yeah. Very gloomy and very kind of like abyssal sounding vocals as well. But I was also very kind of like this is fucking amazing. But it also, I was like, oh, but it doesn't fit into the subject, to the topic. I was like,
how do you make it work?
How do I make it work? And I was like, no, fuck it. Let's just build on this. Let's just make it go through. And it's a song that also, again, is very kind of like, it's not it's graphical. It's out from picturing things, like putting words on pictures, more than it's actually a storytelling or something like that. It's like bodies flowing through rivers, and the hell has like it's, you know, in the story Satan is sitting in a lake which is frozen deep down in the last circle, but here it all has defrosted and now is like swelling around.
Like in constant motion?
Constant motions, and with spirits floating around in rivers of chaos and stuff like that. It was very intense picture I got in my head. And I was like, again, just the flow, like just came out. And when I'm trying to be able to, I don't know, I just reach a point, like a golden moment where between like actually sitting and I can't fucking get a word out of this, and also like, oh, I have to this, but it doesn't make sense, but it's exactly in the middle of some kind of like emotional flow, I guess so. A great song, and I miss playing that song, and we miss playing that song, but we haven't played it for ages.
So I guess you have to bring it back in.
Yeah, but also Venom, that album was a very difficult time in the band. It was very chaotic. It was between tours, and nobody was in the studio together. And Sven was really struggling with keeping it all together, and he was spending a lot of time alone, doing a lot of time in the studio, where a lot of the other of us was like in and out. So that was also why we wanted to do it together at the Necrosapiens album. We wanted to flip things 180 and do something else and do it together as well. And Necrosapiens, to our luck, we wanted to start the recordings of the album in, I think, March 2020. And what came in March 2020? Corona.
Yep.
And the pandemic and all that stuff. So that gave us like all the time we wanted to...
Blessing in disguise.
Yeah, exactly, for some reason. Of course, it was a difficult time at that point, but...
For musicians' point of view, yeah. I think a lot of bands benefited of that.
Yeah, exactly. And so we rented a studio and also spent a lot of time together in the rehearsal, actually doing the songs and rehearsing the songs and putting together pieces and pulling them out and like communicated a lot creatively. So what song should I take from that? That is...
That's kind of a long way to answer.
An incredible fucking album. Like, that was like the step up, a huge step up for us. I would say Necrosapiens or Genesis. Because those songs, when I heard the songs, I was like, I wrote the guys and I was like, do you actually know how good musicians you are? Do you actually know that you have written shit that is fucking world class? Like, I can't even explain how fucking cool these tracks are. This is amazing. And you're giving me a gift to like write lyrics.
So you're really like spreading and sharing the love.
Yeah, absolutely. They really showed. They always been great musicians, but I was like, fuck man, you really did it this time. I was like, shit man, this is gonna be crazy. Like, and we had such a great time in the studio. We spent a week together. We took our laptops with it, sat and played Counter-Strike. We went out eating and drinking and just had a great time and a good way of like, you know, being together in the creative mode. And the place was like, it was at the countryside, so nobody was there to like distract us or anything like that. And it was a great studio. There was great equipment out there. So it just created a great atmosphere for us. We were prepared to the fucking bones at that time. But that was also a time when you actually could be that much prepared and put the time and energy into it. In terms of nobody of us had to work. Like, we had all the fucking time. So maybe we're a bit like nervous about the next step, I guess, as well, because the world is open right now, and we're also in a situation right now where things get more intense.
Yeah, one could say that nowadays the opportunity for gigs and the festivals and what have you is like multiplied by many, even bigger than before COVID. But now we're steering towards the end slowly. Where you put you're in like 5 years from now.
In 5 years from now.
5 years. Let's play a little bit of Portugal because we won't be doing part 2
No.
until like 5 years or so. I wanna, like see how your foretelling is so true. Like once we go back
Yeah.
to this one, say in 5 years, maybe 2 hours, 2 albums more, who knows?
Maybe.
And we will go back to that. So I want to see how well we are
Yeah.
with the estimations.
Hopefully we've like put out some great couple of albums. Hopefully we've also there's a great response. We've like reached a certain level where like maybe we could actually live from this, like do this as not only as a part-time job where we work maybe 60, 70 hours for it, but actually do this as a full-time job. Maybe we've been in the US over the Atlantic, maybe other places in the world, maybe we've toured with a band that we really fucking want to tour with.
This was my next question. Don't steal it just yet.
I don't know. You can always be fucking ambitious and like out of this world. But I want to go Metallica and I want to go Iron Maiden.
Of course, you want to go on.
Of course, you want to go that. Of course, you can be more realistic. Gojira would be fucking amazing.
Let's not be too realistic. Let's not be too realistic. No. Let's just go like fantasy. Like there's a fantasy football where you just build your fantasy teams and all that stuff. So
let's play manager.
yeah. Let's play this manager tool before we go. What band will you be warming up in your biggest fantasy? Because headlining dreams are one thing, but like a dream come true, like you're warming up for which band exactly and why?
Metallica.
I like this ambition.
Fuck, man. Because they actually have like a Danish X factor into it.
That's true.
So it could actually, in a far out universe, it could actually be possible that Lars Ulrich would kind of dig our music. I don't know if he already have heard it or
he should.
He quite should. I know he's fond of like death metal. But that would be absolutely amazing. That would be celebrating ourselves and our whole reason to be here. Like they are the fucking heroes, and they've made it all. They put metal out there as no one has ever done before, and they also put like a more hard-hitting and extreme part of the heavy metal music into the mainstream as well. And I don't necessarily think that mainstream is a bad thing. I know the underground in heavy metal is very strong.
Likes to lube itself a little bit.
Immense fucking respect for that. But that would be the fucking dream, playing stadiums with Metallica.
I cannot really disagree with that.
I can't believe I'm saying this.
I really can't disagree with that.
No,
being an old-time Metallica fan.
Yeah, go big, think big.
Last question is not so much a question, but what would you say to the next Baest band right there? Like, hey, we want to become big. We want to also sign to Century Media or some other big label. We want to do it our own ways, own terms, and we want to make it right. And these guys have already done it, so they want to ask you the question that you're going to answer with what?
Shit, yeah. Work your asses off. That's easy to say, but really work your asses off till it fucking hurts. Write songs, take them seriously, but also have fun with it. It's fucking important to have fun with it. And let it come from a real place in your body, and let it come from a real place in your head as well. It can be fun, all fun and games and stuff like that, but some part of the music also have to come from a real place. And after a while, you'll know where that place is, and you know when it manifests in your own music. So work your ass off and be emotional and be passionate and let that place be a constant fountain to your creative songwriting. And also drink beer.
I was expecting some kind of a relaxing end commentary to come here. I was about to mention, don't forget your bands are gonna make fart jokes.
Yeah.
This is Baest. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Simon.
so much. A pleasure talking to you.
Now you already know I like the band because they make good music. They're good live. I'm still on the verge of choosing which one to like more, live or albums. So I guess you have to find out yourself. So do yourself a favor, if you call yourself a death metal dude, death metal fan, death metal gal, I don't know what the fuck, go check out these guys, and if you don't like them, maybe the problem is at your hand. No, this is Rauta, this is Kaamos Metal Cruise, this is Baest. Good night, and take care. See you on the other side.
Rock and roll.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much.
We will do go.
What a fucking journey.
Guess how long the interview was.
Assholes over
Hey,
there, man.
The mic, man. We'll take the photo on
both of you, guess how long you talked?
33.
No, an hour or so.
56.
56
Really?
minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had to take a piece in the middle of it.
Yeah, I noticed. I was like, oh, this is gonna be.